Hi, everybody. How are
Greetings,
you
greetings.
guys? They're laughing because I wasn't prepared today. I was rushing. No one can even see it. Can I put this down, Dave, for a minute?
You want to put it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No one can see it anyways.
It's okay.
It's okay, but we're going to talk about this. We have a book here we're going to talk about.
No,
I'm
the book.
sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Dave is very protective over his
Very
books.
much so.
So welcome, you guys. Welcome to Here to Help You. We were off last week.
Yes.
We were doing a I wouldn't say meditation, but it was a retreat in the sense where we were not in the busy Toronto traffic.
And away from everything.
Away from everything. There's a lot of bush.
Holy. Yes.
I saw a moose.
Yes, that's right. They did wake us up. So you could
Anisha's
fire. We
laughing
were
at
fired
us.
to the bush.
But I saw a moose, guys. I don't think you understand how majestic this thing is. Like, I tried to be slick and take like a photo, so I opened the door and it ran away. And everyone's like, "Why didn't you just take the photo too?" So I'm like, I was so excited. I've never seen a
Stop
moose.
lie. You try to get it up and close.
I did. I wanted to get close to this thing. This thing took off, but this
Listen,
thing is
man.
massive.
We can't afford any of those hoof kicks, okay?
I wasn't gonna get close for enough to hoof me up, but I wanted to see. Like, it was so beautiful. Didn't have the antlers though, so I don't know if that meant it was a woman. I'm not too sure about moose. I nearly said mooses, but you guys didn't catch me off play this time. So it was interesting. You know what? I do suggest it for everybody to, you know what, find that time to take some time, and
Go
it just
away.
means go away.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, get out of your usual. If you're saying I'm taking time off and staying in your house, that's not. You're going to end up getting caught up into something. You got to leave. And now with Airbnb, that's so possible.
Yeah, it's given everybody a chance now to be their own realtors, in a sense, right? Where you have a home, right? And regardless of the location, you can go ahead and make some money off of it. Why not?
Absolutely. It's kind of cool. So we spent a good time away, and
Mm-hmm.
we missed you guys. We're back. We got some information. Usually there's a guest. And I said to Dave, I'm like, Dave, guests are wonderful. We love having people come in. It's one of the reasons why we do this. We want to give everyone a platform and give them the same platform opportunities that we've been given.
True.
Right? But here to help. We're about education and learning. And I feel sometimes that we slip away from that. So we wanted to come back to that this week.
Back to our roots.
Back to our roots. Here to help. Teaching, education, life learning.
Yes.
Taking our history, making it part of our present, understanding, connecting, engaging, motivating, empowering. Wow, all those. You hear all that?
Cultivating a future.
Cultivating the future, even if you are a relic of the past.
That's not bad.
I like that, eh?
Yeah, that's really good.
So, to deal with relic thought, how about that?
Oh, boy.
ACM words, yeah?
Yes.
University does help. Anyways, so today we're going to be learning about some names I've never heard before. As you can see, I brought myself my book because I'm going to be taking notes today. So Dave, lately I noticed, because he has a library in his home. Yeah.
Not lately.
He's always had a library in his home. There's so many books. If this man, I swear, I think what if your books weren't up? Like, see?
Let's start a new one.
Like, I just touched his book and he got a lot on his feelings.
No. That's terrible.
So he has books that are like $1,000. I'm like, who spends $1,000 on a book?
Not one, but it was a set. Yeah, it's very valuable.
So I noticed he started picking up. So he had ordered these like a couple years ago when we
Right.
first started hanging out and things, right?
Yes, that's
And
right.
I was
when we
like, I
first
thought
met.
these were interesting, in praise of Black women.
Yes.
And he has 3 of these monster books, and it's by Simone
Swartz.
Schwartz.
Yeah.
The fact that her name is Simone.
It's true. It's true. That's why I got
My
it.
ego went off.
Who would've
Hold on, I'm
thought,
going to
huh?
put this into the middle.
Go right
So
ahead.
there's a 3-part series to this. Is there or more?
There may be a 4th.
Okay.
I've heard to the grapevine that I think there is a 4th one out there looming somewhere, but so far the majority of people who I've spoken to, there are 3.
What made you order the series, Dave? We're going to do I'm going to interview Dave today.
She's interviewing me.
First
Wow.
first segment is an interview.
It's been a while
What
since
made
I've been
you? No,
interviewed.
because today I asked him, well, what do we want to do today? We don't have a guest. We want to teach something. I mean,
Let's use this up. I'll go ahead and leave it up.
You're scared. See how he's scared for me to touch his. Did you guys see that? You saw how like, oh my God, the anxiety already. He's like, okay, let me just do this. Okay,
Hold on.
Dave.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You don't want to go ahead and leave it up? It's okay. It's not one of the more expensive ones. This one could always be reprinted. Actually, yeah. Right there.
He loves his books more than he loves me.
That's not true, but still.
If the book was on fire and I was burning, Dave would try to save the book.
I preserve human life. The book I can always get again.
I want to put those $1,000 ones up and see. Test your love.
Hold on.
Anyhow, what made you pick up this series? What got you interested in this?
When we're dealing with African history, and especially when it comes to the mythology and stories and so forth, right? Where there's a god, there's a goddess, right? Where there's a man, normally, of course, there is a woman, right? In the stories, right? So, and a lot of times, we are just hearing, of course, from the male perspective, the patriarch side of things.
Yes.
Right? Why not go ahead and of course, shed light on the matriarchal side of things?
The balance.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
For instance, now, of course, we often hear, of course, in the mythology, the Egyptian mythology, right, of Kemet, right? How, of course, women played an exceptional role. The goddess Nut, right? She's responsible for giving birth to the sun. Just think, if she said, not doing it, right? No sunrise.
Mind you, we can't just say we're not having this child if it's there.
Well,
It's kind of there, so it's coming out.
technically.
Kind of like doo-doo.
The-
When it's ready to come, it's coming.
However, right, technology now allows us, of course, tells us, right, that women have
Technology.
up to a certain amount of time where a woman can say, you know what, I'm not doing it,
Okay.
right? So, of course, in this
You mean
instance,
menopause?
well, that comes later, right?
Okay.
But you have to know the importance. You see the importance right there. She swallows the sun, of course, sunset, right? And gives birth in the morning, sunrise. So something like that.
You're just setting this up for just foolishness to come out my mouth. So she swallowed seed.
The sun. The sun.
Okay.
Right, the sun. That's the mythology, the legend, of course, But
I have Anisha dying.
she is. She's dying right there.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
You're telling me stories and I'm trying to relate them so people of our time can understand. And
To
she
do what?
swallowed the sun. She swallowed seed. That's what she did, the sun. And he came out. Son of God. No? Sorry, continue. This is why it's your lesson.
No.
I shouldn't be talking.
No. Too late now.
All right, so go back to new.
Well,
No.
that's just one example.
Okay.
Right. I mean, of course, there are countless other women out there who have contributed, who have been contributors, right, to the legends, to myths, right, to upholding our traditions. Look at Book of Negroes, right, with the little girl. She was the last of her tribe, and of course, to go ahead and carry on that tradition. So, I mean, women have played an important role in our history, and by means, if we don't change our attitudes, right, and go back to adopting, of course, the principalities of honoring the woman, especially in this society, today's society, we're not going to make it.
You know what? I think you're absolutely right. And we spoke about this while we were actually driving here. And I found it, when he talked about it, I was like, how am I going to relate this to us? How am I going to make this so that people of our time are interested? And I said, you know what? Unfortunately, there's something that cannot be denied. Our psychology has been a little bit tainted because of what has happened to us. Slavery was real. We can't take away from what happened. And it's
Right.
destroyed our psyche in
Very
a lot
much
of ways.
so.
In North America, there's this glass ceiling that is found on top of women, which in Africa didn't exist. there are queens who did great things who we're going to talk about today.
Right.
And I think the number one thing we need to do at this point is start helping change the psychology of our people, because our people are stuck in this servient, oh, there's a glass ceiling, there's only so high a woman can go. No, maybe for the European, there's only so high a woman can go. But for us, we've been doing this. Besides the matriarch, the queen in England, who else do they have, really?
That's very true.
They have some little Duchess and Duchess and all them things. Yeah. But
still, right.
The power that some of these queens, they had Thatcher, she was gangster.
But not a royal blood.
But not royal blood. She was just the prime minister. She was given a position.
But still,
right?
Yeah, I totally get exactly where you're coming from.
But you know what I'm saying?
Placed in a position where she had to go ahead and show strength
and
resolve and that vigilance, that auntie, of course, keep saying, right? But at the same time, it's not to say that us as Africans, we always had it correct, right? In regards to the way we honored a woman. Yes, we had our issues, right? We definitely had our issues. But at the same time, you know what? If we're going to look at history, right? And by means, history, of course, the reward of all types of research, right? History shows that, you know what? There's no other place in the world that had as many queens, as many women in powerful positions, of course, than our beloved motherland.
All right, I'm going to have to stop you there because you seem to have forgotten that we have a clock. You forget that
No, you notice where I ended, right?
You didn't end. I have to stop you.
No, I ended perfectly.
We'll let Dave begin when we come back.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
So apparently, my choice of
what, metaphors? Like similes?
My choice of simile was not appreciated by neither my co-host nor my engineer. They are not about my simile. I don't care because they still have not been able to really come back to me as to how it's not the same. We're not going to go over it. If you haven't seen it, go back.
Why it's not the same?
You know what I'm saying, though? Go back to last segment, okay?
So, go back to last segment.
Welcome back, guys. If you're just joining us, besides the wonderful similes from this first segment, we also have been talking about African queens and the importance of them and why it's important to teach this. And this is the type of stuff that we should be showing our young women and teaching our young women about to start changing that psychology of self. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us, and this is why I don't get mad at y'all, we're still brainwashed. You can pretend you're not, but you are. And a lot of it is transgenerational. So a lot of it you have no control over. It's in your genetics almost. So we have to kind of like find ways to combat it. One way is to teach you who you are,
That's right.
who you have been, and who you can become.
Right. And, and it's not so much, of course, when you're looking at the examples, not everybody's going to go ahead and draw strength upon a certain figure, right? Whatever relates to you, of course, by means, of course, you're going to flock to it, right? But at the same time, it all comes down in regards to what it is that you want to go ahead and do for yourselves, right? So, yes, learning about the history, learning about, of course, what these people did when they were in positions of power, drawing upon those experiences, right? And this is one of the greatest things that we have about history is the fact that if we don't look at these things, right, and, of course, use the examples to where we are in the present to cultivate our future, then, of course, the history just dies out.
Yeah, and that's the problem is a lot of these names that he's going to bring up, this is why when he said some of the names, I was like, he's like, do you know this person? I'm just like, yeah.
No, that wasn't the question.
I know who this person is.
That wasn't the question.
Never heard the name in my life.
Never.
You know the first pharaoh, Simone? I'm like, of course I know the first pharaoh that was a woman. You know, her.
Still, not even the
What's her
correct.
name?
Not even the correct question.
Whatever. Teach. Go on with it, Div.
All right. So,
First person.
could we go to the first picture, please? Now, the majority of our scholars, right?
How about that?
We'll leave this up here for a little bit.
She doesn't look like a queen.
I know, but it's a symbol, and then we'll get to it in a moment.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. A lot of our scholars do teach that the first female pharaoh was Hatsheput, which we'll get into. She's part of our list.
Can you spell that, please?
Hatsheput?
Yes.
Yes. Hat. Shep, as in shepherd.
Okay.
Sut, as in like dirt.
As in shit. No?
No. Sut.
Sut?
Yes.
Okay.
It was more like
S-U-T?
shut. It
Like,
was what
oh, take off your shirt.
there you go.
All right.
Right? A lot of our scholars do teach that, in fact, that she was the first pharaoh. However, though, this symbol right here is one of the first recorded. I'm going to say one of the first. There are authors out there like Robin Marker who say she's the first recorded woman to go ahead and run a country. Her name is Mer-Neith. That's MER-NEITH. There are different ways to go ahead and spelling it. Her name means beloved of Neith. So the Mer comes from Mary, or MERI, right, which means beloved. Should I continue speaking as you're writing?
I'm writing. Keep teaching. Keep teaching. Beloved. So beloved of Neith.
Of Neith, yes.
What's Neith?
Neith. So okay, so we see a symbol, the long-standing symbol, of course, with the X, or it looks like an X.
Yes.
Okay, that's the symbol of Neith.
Okay.
Right. She was hunting, arrows, basket weaving, right? That sort of thing. That sort of nature, right? They kind of related it in regards to now the weaving of the DNA. Right, you know, like the DNA structure, and you have the whole weaving of course, those, I don't know what they call a scientific term for it, but
It's called a helix, Dave.
thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Right, so that's her symbol. Yeah.
The weaving things that go in and out.
Yeah, hey man, there's things I know, there's things I don't know.
This is why I'm here. This is why we're a team, Dave.
Thank you very
Helix.
much.
The word is helix. All right.
All right, so here's the pecking order, I'm going to say where she falls. So Menes, or Mena, right, as we know, is the first pharaoh who unified the two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt. After he passed, there was Hor-Aha. Not the tool, right? All right, not the tool.
Why did it have to be a tool that I was talking about?
Because you know what, you smiled. It's lovely.
So what? It's a he or a she?
It's a male. Hor-Aha.
Aha.
Yes.
Got it.
Got it. Right. After that, there was Djer, right? That's
Okay.
Djer, right? He was the husband to Mer-Neith.
Okay.
Right. What happened
She was the leader.
when he passed?
Oh, she became the leader.
There we go.
Got it.
In a lot of cases, especially with Kemet, you would have now the females who take over because, of course, their sons, which is next in line, were just too young to rule. I
Okay.
believe she was. Sorry, I don't remember exactly how old she was when her husband passed. However, though, here's one thing that really I struggled with, and of course, doing a little bit of research on her, was that there wasn't any records in regards to how she ruled or how long she ruled. Right, nor was her name mentioned in the King's List, and I searched a few areas. I checked Dr. Ben, Ben Joseph, right, Ben Nakinen, right.
Yes.
I checked his list, right, and I couldn't do a relationship there. Mind you, I didn't have enough time to do it, but I checked a few other sources, but I didn't see her name there, right.
Okay.
So, however, though, her name, in fact, we see the sculpture, right. Oh, actually, it's a carving. Sorry, it's in fact in the tomb. It's a tomb, right, which bears this name, right? And this, in fact, was found in El Kahab, right? Which is real interesting because considering the fact that there is no real stories behind her, but still her name is, of course, among the Valley of the Kings, right?
Oh, so it appears. So she has some significance.
There you go.
Got it.
Right?
Okay. We just don't know enough about her.
There we go.
Okay. Do you think, and I'm going to say this, do you think this might have a fact to do that she was a woman and how she acquired the kingdom? It's not that she was like the daughter of a king or something. It's the fact that she was just married to a king and then she just became king because of like situations.
Remember, of course, you know what? The royal lineage comes through the woman,
See?
right? Pause.
Royal lineage.
Yes, lineage
All right. Comes
travels
to the woman.
to the woman.
All right.
Right. You know, you find in some tribes, in different parts of the motherland, where it isn't the king's direct son, it'd be the nephew, right? Who'd be the next in line, right? And
Oh,
the
like
son,
Wakanda.
and the son now, of course, and the nephew, they
See?
get caught up, right? Because of course he feels, well, my father was, right? So there we go.
Black Panther all over again. Got it.
Or that movie of it, right? That
Okay.
version of it, I should say.
Yes.
Yes.
Wakanda forever.
There we go.
Continue.
Right. So there isn't an age or a time limit as to when she ruled. However, her son, by the name of Den, ruled about 2970 BC. So give or take a few years prior to that. So it's a long time, right? Depending on whose calendar, 2,900. I'd give it around 2,900. Right, I mean, you're looking at the Old Kingdom starting about 3,200 BCE, depending on whose calendar we're working with.
One day you need to do a class, Dave, on this BEC, CBE, 2000 year, because I think that part's what throws people off sometimes. It throws me off a little bit.
It does.
I understand some of it, but
Right.
it's like you have to understand how they looked at how they counted.
Backwards.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's hard to
To picture that in today's.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I totally get it.
Right?
And that's a whole other discussion for another time.
It is. I
By means,
understand.
of course, we're looking at, of course, who created the manipulation of constructing time as well, right? So it's different. It's definitely different.
All right.
Right.
That's Queen Mer-Neith.
Meath?
Mer-Neith.
Okay, that sounds a little bit better. It's okay. I understand. We've lost our tongue.
Mer-Neith.
Mer-Neith. Next.
Beloved of Neith.
Next, Hatsheput, as we mentioned before. Do you mind going to that picture? I like this sculpture. This is beautiful, man. She became queen, I believe, at the age of about 27, maybe 28 years old. Her son, Tutmosis III, was about maybe 2-3 years old at the time. It's interesting, and I love the story about her. Our Christian folk is definitely going to go ahead and relate to this as well. So it said that the god Ammon, right, was so in love with Hatshepsut's mother because she was so beautiful. So he came down, of course, made love, and she's the offspring. She's the offspring of a god.
Oh, the god. Okay.
Right? So of course, it's only in her.
I get
For her to rule,
it.
right?
For her to rule, because she was made by a god.
There we go.
She's half Godian. What? She is. No wonder she's so beautiful and things, because she's half Godian.
There we go. If that
touched-
is a word, yes.
Her mother
Debbie,
swallowed
yes.
the sun, swallowed seed.
Can we go to the second picture, please? Because they kept everything in line, of course. The gentleman that we see on our left-hand side was her half-brother and as well as husband, Tutmosis II. When he dies of a skin disease, right?
So hold on, that's her, right?
That's her on
On the red, that's
all right.
Hatsheput.
There you go.
I said it good?
Not bad.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
So that's her husband.
Right. So when he dies, of course, she takes over, right? And
Okay.
once again, of course, her son is only about 2 years old at the time, right? We're looking now during her reign. We're looking at peace. There's a peaceful time because she didn't really get engaged in a whole lot of war at that point in time. You notice Tutmos, that whole lineage we're taking.
Mos?
There
Okay.
you go, right? They fought their wars, the Hyksos particularly, right? Where you have, of course, an invading force coming in and then going to have to go ahead and push them out.
Okay.
So she's definitely what's the word I'm looking for? A benefactor. There you go. Of course, her predecessors going and fighting that war at that point in time.
Okay.
All right. During that period as well, we're looking at the arts as something being a focal point. I mean, you see that sculpture that was done, right? That statue. There are all other, of course, sculptures, especially where they display her eyes as being very almond-like, and her beauty. Something that was heralded at that point in time as well.
Because she was half Godian.
Yes, that's right. Before we do close out for this segment, one thing that was very, very important at that point in time is that how she dealt with her son, right? She made sure her son was schooled in the best manner possible. So, of course, he was with the high priest, he was with the warriors, among the scribes. So he's so well-rounded. So when it was his time to go in and take over, he became one of the greatest pharaohs, who ruled of his time. Mind you, of course, he himself had his own issues, of course, with his mother, which is another story for another time.
He had issues with his mom?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Because when he takes over, right, he pretty much goes and almost defaces everything that she did, everything that bears her face, right? Which is now we're looking at like what
How
really
angry.
what really happened at our household, right?
Were you? I get being rebellious, but I'm not trying to deface my parents' things. Like, they annoyed me and stuff, but
then then again, that whole transgenerational, right? They weren't perfect,
yeah.
right? They left some wonderful examples for us to go ahead and follow. But of course, once again, we had to look at them as humans because that's what they were.
Okay, learning. So mothers, even if you think you're doing everything for your children, they might deface you. Know this. And I'll see you guys soon.
It is a reality.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
So, as many mothers out there may know, some kids are just damn ungrateful. It don't matter what you do to them. This little brat
Yes.
gets truant and then just says he wants to deface a thing. Like,
Yeah, it happens.
what's your theory?
My theory is, the pressures of being, of course, the royal family.
Okay.
Remember, she's in a position at that point in time where, okay, look at Mer-Neith, right? Where there's no record of her name in the books. And her now she's history. At that point in time, she's the first to sit on the throne.
So why is he so angry, though?
Could you imagine being the son of the first Oman?
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Get over yourself.
But that's the thing.
So-
Yes, we could
Really?
say that now, right?
I know.
We can
I
say
hear
that
you.
now.
I
But,
hear
but
you.
back then, of course, who knows? Maybe the ridicule, right? Maybe the jokes.
Yeah,
But
your mom.
but your mom's the queen. Boy, and can't we have to catch the queen and all? Like just like different type of talks
Is that
that
what you would say? That was the first that came. I can't wait to catch the queen.
Okay, the reason
Dave?
the reason why I said it is this, right? Okay, so some of her workers, and mind you know what, like when she had mines, and of course, some other things, where, it was easy to go ahead and employ slaves, people willingly go ahead and sacrifice their time to go ahead and build these things for her. So of course, a worker, I've seen this one episode where a worker went ahead and actually carved a sexual position of, I'm not sure it was himself, but of course the queen, right? So of course,
The very first sexting. That is awesome.
There you go, right?
Yes.
There you go.
First nudie shot. Go on with it.
So I mean, of course these things are gonna come into play, right?
First porno picture.
Hey,
First Playboy picture.
Who knows? Is that what you're thinking?
What they
right
call
now?
it?
Huh?
The
The comedian?
The comedian?
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Sorry, desecrate the thing today.
No, man, I
Terrible.
can't deny. One of the lovely things that she did during her time is that she led a great expedition into what was called as Punt, right? Punt today, Somalia.
Oh.
And you know what Somalians are known for.
beautiful smells.
Yes.
Unsi.
There we go. Incest, right? The aroma.
Incense, not incest.
The-
I want to make sure
Yes, that's
clear
right.
about what they said.
Yeah, incense. That's what I
Okay.
said. Incense.
Okay.
Yes. That's where your mind's going right now.
Just saying, 'cause it came out a little bit. I'm like, no, guys, it's
No.
not saying. We don't want to ever come off saying that this is what Somali. They burn really nice things. It smells pretty.
The aroma of the gods. That's
Yes.
that's what it was called. So of course, you know what? Like at that point in time, well, that's what she did. She went in and established trade, and of course they gave what they had to give in return. The Somalians or the land of Punt, they sent incense.
That's beautiful. So when you burn your incense, you might just be burning alongside Hatsheput.
How she put it. Yes.
All right, let's move on to another girl. Let's go to the next queen. I like it. I like it.
Now, forgive me, of course, my people. I've lost my tongue, so if I do pronounce,
Oh, that means he's gonna mess it up.
yes, yes, it is. Right, Duarama. That's how. Duarama. That's how far it's all gonna
Pretty
go.
good.
It's
That
not
sounds
bad,
all
right?
It's probably completely wrong.
Probably, but
it's
you know,
okay. You
please,
tried it, Ting.
I did.
All right.
She was the ruler of the Hausa nation, right? And in fact, one of the last Kabra of the Dara. Dara, in fact, was an area at that point in time, right?
Okay.
So we're looking 9th century, right? If you notice, of course, the animal beside her, the buffalo, well, because she, in fact, was known, of course, to be the strength, very strong. Because buffaloes are strong, right? So she was
So
strong.
she was strong.
Strong, yes,
What?
very strong. So
Like wrestler strong?
like wrestler strong. That's her spirit.
Oh, not technically,
Right.
not physically.
Well, not physically, but spirit-wise.
Okay.
Right? Because she's very, very much in tune, of course, with the spirit of the ancestors. She loved the water, the river, in fact. Because our scholars most often say, that we came from the land, right, where the rivers of God
Yes.
happy dwell, right?
Yes.
So by means, two major rivers at that point in time, we're looking at the Nile, and of course, the other side, the western side, of course, we had the river going out to the present-day Atlantic, right?
Okay.
So she had a very strong connection to this. She always said, this is the rivers, of course, where my ancestors came from, right? So once a year, she would go ahead and actually do a bath into the sacred rivers once a year. And of course, the whole of the land, of course, but they go ahead and marvel the fact that, she's taking part process in the sacred thing. So one year she couldn't do so because of the great serpent. And the serpent's name was Sarki. What happened at the point in time was,
I saw a snake last week too, and I ran. Sorry.
that is true. Most people would run. Most people would run.
You said serpent, so it's right because it clicked back.
Most people would run.
Trish ran too faster than me, though.
Like lightning.
Go ahead.
Right? So most people would run, but not her. And in fact, here's the legend. Here's the legend. Now, it is said at that point in time that considering she was one of the last of the female rulers, but one of the last of the matriarchs, because after that, the power was transitioned over to patriarchal side of things. So in order to get rid of the snake or the serpent, the horseman came into town, right? And fell in love instantly with Duarama. I say it slowly, going to get my tongue, right? So he looks at the snake and he looks at her. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the snake. And she says, you know what? Listen, man. Like, it's a snake. It's great. It's large. You know what? Who knows what can happen to you? You know what? He says, no worries. I'm going to do this.
Me as a man.
Yes, very much so. So she says that if you do away with the snake, then you know what? You will be my king.
He got that way too easy. I'm sorry.
Hey, different time.
Wow. Okay.
But listen, you know what? Like, come on. During the certain times, it's no different than now.
How long did she know him for?
Not
Did
very
she
long.
follow the 3-month rule?
I think they
She's
had one.
giving up kingdom from one serpent guy?
Listen, one serpent. Yes, to the conqueror.
Okay.
It happens, Strong women need strong men. Yes? No? Not at all?
It'll take more than a snake.
It takes more than a snake.
Anyhow, continue. I don't follow this girl at all. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So you know what? That was the story. I guess how the transition of power happened at that point in time.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, she was very beloved. Her kindness, her openness. And I guess how she dealt with her people.
Yeah.
Right. It was something at that point in time to be revealed. Right.
Revered.
That too.
Okay. Got you, Dave. Don't worry. This is why I'm here.
Thank you.
This is why I'm here. I like that. So can you put that picture up of her again? I like her head tie. Let me see how she did it.
Mind you, of course, it's just a character.
An illustration.
There you go, right? But at the same time, I mean, you can see the strength, right? And I mean,
Buffalo.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay. Head ties on point, girl. Pick up yourself. All right. Next.
Sogolon. Did you say drinks?
Yeah, we said it at the same time.
Oh, sorry. Sogolon Konte. Can we go to the next picture, please?
And Sogolon is spelled Sogolon. And Konte is Konte.
Yes. Actually, sorry. Not the right one. Actually, you know what? Don't worry. I don't think we have one of her. That's okay.
Wow.
I apologize. Actually, no, we did get it wrong. That's my fault. This, in fact, is Sogolon Konte.
Guy.
Yes. I forgot, you know what, that we skipped one because we didn't have a picture. My apologies, folks. It happens. It's live.
Dave, you had my confidence until that. It's okay. I like this girl's head tie.
It's okay. It's only in the picture. So here's also another story in regards to the buffalo. So Sogolon Konte, around the 1200s in regards to when she ruled, she in fact is the mother of Sundiata the crippled. In fact, they called him at one point in time till he rose to, of course, his kingdom. Sundiata was one of, I believe, 11 children. From many, of course, wives at the point in time. However, there was a coup, right? And what you do, of course, you kill off all the firstborns or heirs to the throne. But they did one thing, in fact, that allowed power tells us not to do, right? Is to leave that ember of light shimmering. And in this case, Sundiata, the king, or the cripple, was left. And the reason why he was left, once again, he was crippled. So they took pity on him. Well, he's never going to rise up to nothing. He's crippled. So, but it was this woman, in fact, his mother, who enabled him with the strength, gave him that strength, that courage, right? So that one day, of course, that's what he did. He became king. Right? So joke's on them.
They should have crushed him.
That's what happens. That's
Too
the law of power, right? You crush your enemies totally. You don't give them any room whatsoever.
Don't leave an ember to spark.
There you go, right? So one other thing, not only just the strength of the buffalo, but of course, it is said that she carried that spirit of the buffalo as well, right? And she was very much involved in, of course, in what we like to call today as magic. Well, in other words, spirituality, right?
I know, you call it what you want to call it.
Right? So,
Obia.
Yes.
Voodoo.
There we go. The terrible thing at that point in time, especially after the coup, right? Because Sundiata was crippled, the mother had to endure so much ridicule from, of course, from everybody else. Or to the son of a cripple, of course, he's not going to amount to nothing, so on and so forth. I could imagine what they probably would have said about her womb, bearing such, a child that was not regular, of course, in their eyes, right? So, I mean, to go ahead and endure such pain, right? And then, of course, to deal with the coup, right? And now having the strength to turn inward to make sure, of course, her son needed everything possible, of course, to become the man that he was going to become.
I like that.
Right?
That's a good story.
Yes, very much so. Now, the wars that Sundiata went on to go and reconquer the land, she didn't live long enough to go to see its final product. However, though, on her deathbed, she told her son her last words. She goes, "Come closer so I can give you 3 spells. 1, when I'm not here, right, anymore, you will say these words, right? Stand before the shade tree that sticks out its dead branches in the yard." So, and the first spell is, well, you're going to make the tree green again, meaning it's going to bear, right? Second is that you will make it bloom, right? Third, he's going to reap the fruits from it, right? But the fruits that he reaps, he's not supposed to eat himself, but yet he's supposed to go ahead and give.
Gives. Makes sense.
Right? And this one enabled him to go ahead and command power over the shade tree. Right? And the shade tree at the point in time, of course, being a tree that which grows all over, well, thus establishing his rule.
Oh, so she obia him.
Gave him strength.
That's cool.
She endowed him with
thing
spirit.
to magic, people, that's another show, another day. But there's something about the supernatural, spiritual, whatever you want to call it.
It's belief.
It is belief.
That's belief
People
and intent.
make it bigger. Belief and intent are very strong
belief
things.
and intent.
Placebo effect shows that.
It does it.
You know, there's been a lot of people that they say like Reiki is supposed to be like that miracle that over here is seen as a miracle, but in certain Asian countries it's just normal.
Yeah,
Right?
You know, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's like the hero's journey, right? When he goes on that first quest, well, at least at the beginning, there's doubt, all right, and then something happens where he has to cast all that doubt aside, right? So,
Yes.
we'll come back to
Okay,
it.
so that was good. I like her story. When we come back, we'll do hopefully a couple more of
We'll do
these
a few
queens.
more.
We'll
No
do a few more
worries.
of these queens, and then I don't know. I hope this has been helpful. Please come back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
I want to thank you, Dave. Before we go any further, like honestly, thank you because you kind of took this on your head last minute. But I
Yeah.
know you've been studying it. You've been going through this book, though. I've seen you lately. You've been like
lately,
peeking.
yeah,
You
because
know.
it's something of interest. I mean, once again, we have a lot of male figures that we can go ahead and relate to. You know, from Itore, who was once quoted as the greatest leader, you know, or statesman of his time in the middle of the slave trade, or genocide. Right? So I mean, it's like, so we have countless and countless examples, of course, as men that we can go and turn to, right? I'm sure a lot of women can go and relate to certain stories, right? But to see women as the focal point, right? To see, once again, you know, like, there's a strength about a woman, right, that a man will never be able to go ahead and measure.
Yeah. Take that.
It just
That's coming
happens.
from a man.
It just happens, you know?
You try to push a watermelon out. Tell me how that feels.
see,
How does it feel?
I don't want to
Don't
know.
feel very good, eh?
Does it? No. I don't want to know, you know? And more important, you know what? Me personally, just thinking about it makes me want to pass out.
You see? And we got to do that. And some women do it like 8-9 times, bro. I don't know how they do that.
Right? You know?
Once for me. That is it.
Right, and this, once again, you know, it goes to show us that, like, how women are that much closer to the divine creator or creatoress,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because of course they bring forth life. As much as, you know what, yes, there is balance, and men bring a balance because we carry a seed, right?
That is swallowed. Continue.
Right. But then, of course, you know, that seed is brought to fruition, right? Which is, of course, the feminine side of things.
I'm sorry. You have to go back to the first segment. If you missed, you'll get that. It's a running joke through. Okay. Anyhow, so we have a few more queens. If you're just joining us, Sips Tea,
Yes.
we've been talking about women, and I'm so glad that you're able to do this. So I started by saying thank you because this is good. We are going to do a second to this, and it's going to be Kings. He's going to have to prepare me, but I'm going to study it, and I'm going to present it. 'Cause
She's on
he
her
has all
own,
the
man.
information. No.
She's on her own.
You are the history buff, so
I was out by you today.
we're going to do Kings. No, stop this. So we're going to be doing Kings, maybe even next week. We'll see. We'll
Who
see
knows?
how things go.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how things go, 'cause I
you
think
know,
this is a
like,
good topic.
still, I mean, we barely scratched the surface in regards to how the countless of women who went in and contributed. You know, I mean, mind you, we've heard about Nzinga, you know, in regards to her contribution.
Yeah.
Being the greatest ruler. Remember, 50 years. She fought a war for 50 years and didn't get married. No matter the countless of men who, of course, approached her hand in marriage. And she said, no, I have work to do for my people.
She was the Oprah.
right? Bigger than Oprah.
Huger than Oprah. But I'm saying so because Oprah didn't get married.
Listen, man,
And
bigger
she
than
ruled.
Oprah.
Way bigger than Oprah. Sorry, Oprah.
Oprah had a choice. Oprah has a choice,
It's
right? She fought a war,
true. Wars. No?
right? An ongoing war for 50 years. And, you know, finally at the end, she said, you know what? Now it's time I can go ahead and marry,
How
right?
old was she?
I don't remember exactly how old when she was
Okay.
married. But still, 50 years,
Yeah, so she was past 50.
right?
Right?
Yes, in the grand scheme of
You knew, unless we know she was over 50,
Yes.
at least 60 because she didn't start fighting a war from birth.
Yes, that
she
is
didn't come
true.
out fighting. So you gotta give it like 15 years, so like maybe 60th she got married.
Probably.
60s or late 60s.
Probably.
If you just look at like time.
Time.
You see, this is why I always think about menopause for African women. African women have children late. Did she have children?
I would have to go back and take a
Okay.
look. But still, you know, I mean, just her dedication, you know,
Yeah.
once again, the resilience and vigilance, you know, right? So, I mean, it's
Who's
It's
the
amazing.
Queen that, I know this has nothing to do with this, but who's the queen that basically like did all type of spy techniques? She had people going. Was that Nzinga? Gangster.
Yeah,
Telling
man.
you, having
Had-
people. I've always said you need to
had-
study some of these women,
Yes.
man. They were serious.
had people
come in
join,
the
had
Portuguese army,
right,
and
as
be
active
in
spies.
it and acting as spies to bring
Exactly.
back art of war.
yes,
Art of war, people.
mind you, you know what? She's never She's the greatest military mind. She,
She
an African woman
women.
who never had a shoe,
She had no shoes.
walked barefoot,
Okay, this is where our similarities.
right?
Okay.
But still, you understand?
I get
mean,
it. No, I
with
get it.
all the technology, of course, that you know the conquerors had at that point in
She
time.
could have bought some heels.
How well would it done in the
She could have
battleground?
had some shoes. At
Right,
least some
but still,
flip-flops.
right? You know, never been inside a classroom. You know, their classroom, the so-called high-educated classroom, right? But still, the greatest military mind.
And was able to like
She
gin out
outwit,
all of them.
of course.
Love it. See, women, this is why our young women need to know this, because again, our psychology doesn't teach us this. It's not what they taught us in the Western society. They don't teach us this type of strength. The greatest mind they always attribute to a man in the military when it was technically a woman.
Right.
She outwitted a bigger army than herself.
There we go.
We need to know this. This needs to sit into our subconscious so we can understand that we can conquer a lot more than what we are right now. This is why these stories are important.
Yes.
So I get real passionate about this stuff.
It's
I'm
okay.
just like I'm I want to be gangster in it, like Queen Zinga. Zinga.
There we go.
Go on with it.
Thank you. Amina of Zaria.
I've heard about this lady.
Uh-huh.
This is the one name I knew.
1533 straight through about 1610. Warrior queen.
Another warrior.
Yes, very strong. Very, very strong woman. At the point in time where we're looking at Muslim converts coming in, of course, and at the time they rode horses, you know, swung swords. So she's seeing this. She wanted to do this as well, and she did it. And in fact, she did it so well. In fact, she became the best horse rider, right? And as well as an archer, right?
She's gangster.
Right, of course, definitely. Something unheard of at that point in time, you know? And in fact, here's the spin-off. So her legend, her story, in fact, came to us through TV. Comes to us later on in TV in the form of Zena.
Oh.
Yes. The
Zena,
warrior
the warrior princess.
There we go. Yes.
Amina of Zaria.
Zena.
Oh, I get it now. So guy, and they didn't make Zena black, yo.
Now,
Sorry to do this.
Listen, really,
I gotta
you
ask
think
some
you
questions.
really think they're going to make Zena an African woman?
But why not?
Why not? Really?
I'm asking stupid questions, guys. But
Why
this is just to
not?
prove a point. Interesting. So now we know where Zena came from.
Right, Zena's a major hit. You know, in regards to like television wise, right?
So it's Zena, African princess, really.
Well, let's go with Amina, because that is her name.
Yeah, man, I like
Yes.
that better.
I think we have some other pictures of Amina. Yes, this is a book, cartoon, in fact, a comic book. You know, that some of our you know, children of old and young can definitely go and pick this up. I mean, mind you, of course, it's probably, you know, shrouds of fantasy, but still, in regards to like keeping her name and her story alive.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
You know, I love this picture here. I mean, it's this little statue. Right? I don't
Where
know
is
exactly.
this?
I'm not sure exactly where.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be
but it's
interesting.
beautiful.
That's
It's a
cool.
beautiful statue.
And the fact that at this point, she was a Muslim.
Yes.
young lady.
Mm-hmm.
So she was in hijab and all.
Yes.
And that from that first picture, it looked like she was covered.
Right. Because you know what, she wanted to go ahead and actually
Yeah, man, she was covered.
resemble the horse riders, you know, of the day
Oh, so
as well.
Okay.
So by means, of course, yeah, she did it as well.
Go on, gangster Amina.
You know,
Love it.
But once again, I mean, the strength to know how, you know, the want, right? There's a want that has to be there to say, listen, I'm going to do this, not just for myself, right?
For my people.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna like this next story. It's very sad, but at the same time,
So why would I like it?
hold on, because you're gonna see the strength in this.
Okay, like
right?
these. I like strength stories.
There you go. And once again, I forgive me my tongue. Awura Poku, right? She's also known as Abla. There's a story. Yes, it's beautiful. It's tragic, and at the same time, you know what? It shows a woman's sacrifice sometimes, especially as a mother, what she had to do. So once again, another coup. Sorry, let me backtrack. So we're looking about 17th century. She was queen of the Shanti, Shanti at that point in time, right? Another coup, and her son, you know, she takes her son Kwaku, right, and some other people, you know, they had to flee. Pardon me?
Sounds like Goku. Sorry. Continue.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. You guys know who Goku is, right?
Yes.
Isn't he a Super Saiyan?
There you go. There you go.
All right.
So here's one thing about her. She didn't bear her son till she was of the age of 40.
I love that number.
Right.
Okay.
So and during the time prior up to then, you know, of course, once again the ridicule because everybody else is bearing children. Right? Oh, you know, barren womb and, you know, all types. In fact, they call it his name, Ape. I hope I said it right. The one through misfortune strikes because she has no children.
It's horrible.
I'm telling you. Listen,
That's
do you
terrible.
understand? Of course. And these are the same people, of course, once the coup happened, right, followed her out of the land. So they come to the border between Ghana and Ivory Coast, right? And there's a river that's overflowing on the river Como, I believe, right? And the river's so enraging that, of course, they can't cross. However, though, they consult a high priest who speaks to the spirit of the river. And the spirit of the river asks for something sacred to be sacrificed.
Oh, no.
Right? So, of
She
course,
had to give her son?
she gives up her son.
Oh,
Yes.
that's terrible story.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
But it just goes to show you, Christ, how far she went to go ahead and save her people.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
They had the armies in the back chasing them, right? Nobody did it. Then guess what? Nobody hears the story, right? So she sacrificed. You know, she rocks the son, right? Everybody's doing. You know, everybody's sad because you know this woman who they ridiculed is going to give up her son just to ensure
Safety for her community.
You understand?
People.
Of course, man. You know, so of course she gives him a hug, right, and pushes him into the edge of the cliff, and they cross. Upon crossing, right, the body washes up, right? So she has her period in the morning, you know, and she cries out this word, bauli, or baule.
Can you spell that, please?
Different spelling, but the spelling I got was BA hyphen ULI, right?
Okay.
It meant the child is dead,
Okay.
right? So crossing into Ivory Coast, right? They realized, you know, they were no longer Ashanti anymore, so they renamed themselves Baule, because this was the child who was sacrificed in order, of course, for them to
live.
There you go.
That's a good story.
Yeah, man, and you know, and
It's really sad,
it's sad. It is the tragedy in it is terrible. But at the same time, look at a number of our women who go out there and have to sacrifice themselves,
Yeah.
right? And those of us who want to lead, right? Don't get me wrong, I love Black Girl Magic, you know. However, though, the egotism in Black Girl Magic will kill it, right? And if we don't look at the sacrifices, you know, through the experiences of the past and relate it to now, it's going to be a problem.
You know what? Honestly, Dave, thank you.
No worries.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That last story made me so sad, though.
But just the strength.
There's strength.
There's strength,
I
right?
like that. It's a really good story. So I was supposed to say something funny, but now I can't. Dave,
I ruined the moment.
I can't even do it anymore.
Yes.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. If you have some thoughts on the show, please leave them in the comments below.
Oh, I got one more last thing we need to put up. Could we go to the last picture? Actually, it shouldn't be numbered. It should be on there we go. This is something that is I have to do it. What are you laughing? I have to do it.
Okay, go ahead,
Right?
Dave.
It is near and dear to my heart because I am involved in this process.
Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you so much. We got time. Black Voices Rise. It is taking place over by Juma House this Sunday from 2 to 5. We're looking at the Ontario election, the premier election. Right, for those who have not been following it, who don't care about following it, get involved in the process. It's one thing, of course, for us to stand on the sidelines and watch all these things happen around us, right? And then we become upset because we weren't a part of the process. Right, come through, get educated, be aware in regards to what's going on, get a historical perspective in regards to, of course, what has taken place. By means, if those in power once again continue to be in power, we're looking at losing a lot of things, which could be beneficial for our city and for ourselves as a people.
You know what's interesting? Dave just slid this in.
No, I didn't slide
Yes,
to say
he
that.
did.
I made sure, what?
Yes, he did.
We talked about this. What's wrong with
No,
you?
this wasn't the conversation.
This was see, there you go, retracting. See, but I don't think European
You guys
philosophy.
reach out. Do reach out. It's important. It is. I joke, but it's important that we
Yes,
get
it
involved
is.
in
Yes,
some
it
way,
is.
shape, or
Definitely.
form. So thank you again, Dave, for everything.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for educating us on praising the Black woman, and we're going to continue
African
to
woman.
learn.
Love you.
Woman. It says Black woman on top. I'm reading the book, Dave.
Yes, I know.
Come out your feelings.
But I'm saying African woman.
Come out your feelings.
Love or no.
Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week, everybody.
Peace and love, family.
Bye.